Do you know where your vertigo, your dizziness, or even your lightheadedness might be coming from? Because if you're confused about this, you've been told it's coming from your inner ear, you've been told it's coming from your neck, you're not really sure where it's coming from, then I'm gonna go through 3 things that you can do right now in order to help determine that, and then what you can do about it at home naturally, and whether or not you need to go see a chiropractor. If you have vertigo, dizziness, or even that lightheadedness, doing the Epleys maneuver is one of the great tools that we can use here in the office to determine whether or not it's coming from the inner ear, whether or not you have other associated conditions like bppv. Determining that or using these tests is a great way of doing this. There is a way that you can do this at home. It's called the half somersault maneuver, and I do have a video that you can watch, and I'll put the link right here. So you can watch that after you're done these next 2 things. Now, the other thing I want you to do is I want you to look at your neck. So right now you're watching this video, just follow me along and see whether or not you're feeling this. If you touch your neck and you push into the bones in the back of your neck, do you have any spots that really resonate with you? It's sore, it's tender. So that would be the first thing we're looking at. Number 2 we'd be looking at is whether or not you have the mobility in those areas. And I'll explain to you why in a second. So follow me along here. I'm gonna get you to turn your head to one shoulder, doesn't matter which one, and you're just gonna turn your head. Now, are you able to get to 90 degrees? That's number 1. Are you able to do 90 degrees on the opposite side? If you're finding that you can not only get maybe 45, maybe 50 degrees, you're not getting that full range, well, now we know that your neck is lacking mobility. Number 2, whether or not you're using your shoulders to turn, because I see this a lot with people where they're talking to you and they want to look over to the side, so they might just use their eyes, or what they're doing is they're turning their entire body. They're not able to use their neck. So having tight muscles, bones that are not moving or not aligned properly are early signs that that's where pressure could be coming from. That's actually putting pressure on the nerves that go to your ears, that go inside your head. The other one that you want to be able to do is side to side. So follow me along here. See whether or not you can get all the way over, or are you bringing your shoulder all the way up in order to do that? Are you able to do it the other way? Now, some of you who have vertigo, dizziness, just even attempting that scares the daylight out of you. So how do we get above that? How do we change that? Well, one of the key things that we do here in the office is we measure these top 2 bones, which is the atlas and the axis. Why? Because behind these top 2 bones, where your brain leaves the skull and it goes inside the canal, that area is called the brain stem. Now, the brain stem is the regulator. So if you have pressure on that system, these bones aren't sitting right. They're not straight or balanced this way. They're tilted. There's any type of thing going on there. Well, that pressure can not only affect the nerves, in particular the vagus nerves or the nerves going inside your head, the nerves going to the ears, but also it affects the blood vessels that go into your skull or drain out of your skull. And that back pressure can cause a lot of issues. Some people have bppv, which is a condition that, if you go to get up from the chair, if you go to get up from laying down, you're turning in bed and all of a sudden you start to feel weird. Well, that feeling can come from your blood pressure being unregulated. Your body has a sluggish time of being able to do that. And what you'll find is if you go to sit up and all of a sudden you get it, and now it takes you about 20 seconds, 30 seconds to calm down, well, that's a really good sign that that's where it's coming from. So one of the tests that we do here in the office uses this here, where you put your hand inside, and we use this on day 1 with a new patient, where we'll measure their heart rate variability, which is measuring their vagus nerve, which ultimately tells me how well is that brain-body connection and whether or not it's slow, it's fast, it's stressed, it's relaxed, what is going on. Now, some people, believe it or not, it's not always that they're stressed. It's the opposite, is that their body is unstimulated. Their body is slow, it's sluggish, it actually needs a pick-me-up. And then there's obviously the other people who are completely stressed out, their nervous system is taxed, and therefore that's why they're getting some of these symptoms. Now, the last thing I want you to do with the neck is be able to look all the way up and bring your chin all the way down. That is something that you should be able to do. So you should be able to do those 3 movements. But again, any type of blockages in your neck, in particular at the top here, can be putting that pressure on your nervous system, which ultimately is leading to the symptoms. One of the last things I want you to do is make sure that you're hydrating yourself. Now, just taking water by itself doesn't make you hydrated. In fact, what it can do based on the osmolarity inside your body is it can actually draw out nutrition. It can draw out minerals because of the way that your body is, and you actually become more dehydrated. I know that sounds weird, but this is where electrolytes come in. So if you have water and you think of like let's say an athlete who drinks Gatorade. Now, I'm not saying to go get Gatorade because I don't like it. I think it's junk. But the point behind Gatorade or any of these products is that you're using electrolytes, high salt, there's potassium in there, there's minerals. And what it does is it actually allows for the body to absorb the water. So it creates hydration. Now, the sugar that they put in there is the part that goes against everything that they're trying to do. But the point is this: if you can add electrolytes to your water, maybe even some salt or even some lemon, if you can do that, you're going to change that osmolarity gradient, which is actually going to draw water back into your cells. You're actually going to use that water properly. The other one I want you to make sure you're doing is make sure you're taking all the right minerals. So going back to that water, you can actually add high mineral salt, which would be like a pink Himalayan salt, or even a Celtic salt, or one from Mexico, Baja salt. So if you could do that, it's high minerals, and you're able to actually absorb that into your body, which helps. Because what they found with research is a lot of people who have vertigo, dizziness, inner ear problems, or even dysregulation issues are actually low on vitamin D3 and K2. If you're experiencing this, you're not even taking a supplement, one of the first things I would tell you is make sure you're actually, I'll tell you three things. I'd tell you to take vitamin D, D3, and when you're taking that, make sure it's not in a pill form. I would take it more in an oily form. There's a liquid form, because that actually, it's a fat soluble molecule, which means that it needs fat in order to get carried into the body. So make sure it's that form. You want to make sure you're taking 5,000 IUs per day. If you're not sure whether or not that's you, then go get a blood test and measure your D3 levels. Make sure that they're sufficient, if not on the higher end. One of the things that people do wrong with taking D3 is they're not taking K2 with it. So you need to take, or you need to find a compound, a product out there. We do have one here that we have in our clinic. So if you're physically around the Milton area, you can come and grab it. But it is vitamin D3 and K2 in the proper proportions. So if you're taking 5,000 IUs, where you're gonna get 300 micrograms of the K2, which is the combination that you want in order for your body to absorb. And that's what it does. K2 with D3 actually binds to K2 to D3. It brings it into the body, and now your body can use it properly. In fact, one of the studies that looked at the inner ear and crystals is they found that the body was able to absorb back those crystals, back those nutrients back into the body, and actually use it properly, which really helped with people's vertigo, dizziness, or lightheadedness. And the last thing you should absolutely be doing is make sure you're getting your spine checked, because if this is where the issue is coming from, you don't have the mobility, you did the maneuvers, the Epleys maneuver, or you did the half somersault maneuver, and you're noticing that your neck is really where it's painful. You've palpated, you did these tests, you notice it, then go to a chiropractor. Go to a chiropractor who's gonna do the scans, do the x-rays, check your neck, and make sure that that's where the pressure is, because if there's pressure on your nervous system isn't working the way it was designed to, and symptoms are gonna come from that. And there's a whole slew of symptoms that can come from that, but the point is particular this top part of your spine, if pressure there, not only is the nerves exiting that area, it's the nerves traveling down like the vagus nerve, and it's the blood vessels that it can be blocking. If you have any questions about this video, please leave it down in the comments below. If you know anybody who needs to hear this, please share this with them. Show them this video. Like the video if you got anything from this, and also subscribe to my page, because I do have way more content out there, especially on vertigo, dizziness, even things like sciatica, how to sleep, in order to help you be the best version of yourself.